Good morning. Welcome to First Christian Church. We have just a few announcements to share with you today. Please join us next Sunday evening for a benefit concert for Hilltop Christian Camp. The concert will be at the Jennings Church of Christ at 6:30 p.m. Ron Bridgewater and his band will be performing as well as leading us in praise and worship. FCC, Jennings Church of Christ, and Christ's Way Christian Church will all be working together on this event in hopes of raising $7,000 for Hilltop's 70th anniversary. Speaking of Hilltop, our FCC staff and volunteers will be at Hilltop Christian Camp this Wednesday for day camp. If you have a child in kindergarten through 2nd grade who would like to attend, please see Rose today to get registered. It's not too late. In just 1 week, FCC has a terrific opportunity to reach those in our community who attend the Jennings County Fair. We'd love to have your help. Please sign up in the foyer to volunteer for a shift at the FCC Fair booth. Vacation Bible School is getting closer and closer. It will be held July 16th through the 20th. Children can be pre-registered for VBS. Just click on the link from either the church website or the church Facebook page. Forever Young, our ministry to seniors ages 55 and up, will be meeting on Monday, July 10th. There's a pitch-in dinner at 6 p.m., and then Troy Jackson will be joining us to talk about the Wayside Inn, our local homeless shelter. Join the FCC family on a road trip to Indianapolis. August 27th is officially FCC Day at the Indianapolis Indians baseball game. Game starts at 1:30. Cost is only $14 per person, and we have box seats. To reserve your seat, sign up in the foyer. There are more announcements in your bulletin. And don't forget that we keep our church website, Facebook page, and Twitter filled with the latest and greatest happenings here at First Christian Church. That's it for our announcements. Have a great week.
It seems like everything you tried to do to get ready took significantly longer than what it should have taken. Maybe it's the outfit you laid out and you discover that there's a big stain there and now you have to rework the outfit. Maybe it's your car's tire being flat when you get up in the morning. Maybe it's you wake up in the morning and you discover you don't have power. You've got to figure that out. Have you ever had one of those days that it just seems like you're failing at everything? I think many of us have those days. And I think there are times that we just feel like we stink at something. And it's something that's important to us. How many times do we feel like we stink at parenting? Whether our kids are little or whether they're adults. How much of the time do we feel like we have failed there? How much of the time do we feel like we fail at our health? We go to the doctor and we get news that I should have done a better job at this, or I should eat better, or I should exercise more. How many of us fail at reading? I know a lot of people who like to read, and they're good readers. And they'll sit there and read an entire book. I am not one of them. Every New Year's resolution I have is I want to read this book or I want to read that book, and I get through the couple chapters and I'm going on on a good pace, and then if I'm lucky, I finish the book by the end of the year. How much of the time do we feel like we stink or we fail at our walk with Christ? Whether it's studying the Bible, we just don't take time for that. Or maybe it's our prayer time that we don't take time for. How much of the time do we feel like we stink or we fail at our job? This is something we love, we enjoy, this is something our family depends on, but we just feel like we're failing at. Whether you do this for a living or you do it on a volunteer basis, how much of the time do we feel like we fail at teaching? There are times we feel like lousy parents or grandparents. There are times that we feel like we're letting everybody down. There are times our bodies fail us. And we think, if only I was in better shape. We judge ourselves to the rest of the world. We judge ourselves to the other people that we know. And we feel like we come up empty. We fail. Albert Einstein said a very interesting quote when he said, "Everyone is a genius. But if you judge a fish by the ability to climb a tree, it will spend its whole life believing that it's stupid." I want to tell you something. God has a plan for you. And as long as you follow through with that plan, you will not fail because God's leading you. I love this quote, this illustration about the fish and climbing the tree. We know that a fish wasn't created to climb trees. We know it was created to stay in the water. But maybe the reason why your self-worth isn't where it needs to be is because you're too busy being a fish who's climbing the tree, instead of doing what God is calling you to do. Another quote that I have to share with you by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. He said this, "Now here's my secret. It's a very simple secret. It's only with the heart that one can see rightly what is essential, is invisible to the eye." What are you worth? The world may tell you all kinds of things that you're worth, and they may not be flattering. But what are your worth? Our self-worth is determined by how we see ourselves. But our goal should be to become the person that God sees in us, loved, valued, cherished, and according to His purpose. We're going to talk about something today that God saw value in. And what we're going to learn from this passage is God sees your worth. God knows what you're worth. And to Him, there's nothing in this world that can be offered to pay God your worth. You are worth so much more. God sees you as worth it. When Christ died on the cross 2,000 years ago, and God made that plan, He thought of us. He thought of us in this community, in this church. He thought of you individually. And He looked at you and He said, "You are worth it. You are worth dying for." Now, a man named Cornelius knew that fact. We're going to take a look at another way that God saw him. God saw Cornelius' worth. So we'll study about who he was. In Acts 10, verses 2 through 6, I had an idea this week that I was going to ask various people to either tell me about self-worth or to read Acts 10 and tell me what they think about it. And what was fascinating was everybody got something different. But everyone also came up with the same central theme, that you're worth it. You are worth it in God's eyes. Acts 10, chapter 2, it says this. He was a devout man and feared God along with his whole household. He did many charitable deeds for the Jewish people and always prayed to God. At about 3 in the afternoon, he distinctly saw in the vision of an angel of God who came and said to him, "Cornelius." Looking intently at him, he became afraid and said, "What is it, Lord?" And he told him, "Your prayers and your acts of charity have come up as a memorial offering before God. Now send me to Joppa and call for Simon, who is called Peter. And he's lodging with Simon, a tanner, whose house is by the sea." What did God see out of Cornelius? What did he see out of Cornelius' worth? God saw a man who was devout. God saw a man who was dedicated. In other words, he saw a man who was dedicated to God. He also saw a man who was dedicated to his church. He was a sincere person. He was a respected person. People loved him. People knew he was a follower of Christ. But he wasn't pious. He wasn't holier than thou. He wasn't arrogant. He was a loving person who cared for his family, who cared for his God, and who cared for his community. As I mentioned, he was a family man. He healed his family the way Christ led the apostles. He wanted his family to be active in church and to make a difference in their community. He knew his responsibilities, and he fulfilled them. He was also a man of great love and charity. His community knew him as a man who was generous. His willingness to give back was the leading of God. Now, he was human. Did he have times where he felt like he stunk at something? Yes. Did he have failures in his life? Absolutely. Was he perfect? No. Did he get along with everybody? Probably not. You see, Cornelius was a lot like us, but it was just those deeds who came to the surface. But there was a problem, a very bad problem that the church had at that time. The problem was this: Cornelius wasn't Jewish. And the 12 disciples were Jewish men. They were leading the church. They had learned from a rabbi, which was typical of a Jewish person. They observed the Jewish cultures and traditions ever since they were born. But Cornelius was seen as an outsider. He was doing so much good. He was a good father. He was a good all-around man. But Peter, the leader of the apostles and the leader of the early church, saw Cornelius as not good enough. Why? Because he wasn't Jewish. Now, did this stop Cornelius? How many of us it would be enough? It would be enough for the fact that the church didn't accept us for us not to have anything to do with God. Cornelius saw the difference. It did not stop him. It is easy. It's easy to believe what other people say about you. And sometimes they're not very flattering. Sometimes people are downright mean. Just, I'm sure Peter was toward Cornelius. And why are they mean? Why do they say horrible things? Because oftentimes we are emotional and we allow our emotions to get control of us. And our anger, our frustration, our aggravation is what spits out, not what's actually in our heart. So the people that are trying to say negative things about you or are trying to be negative to you, don't ignore them. What they have to say may be constructive, but understand it's their opinion. And as I said earlier, I want to say again, because this is what I want you to take away from today's message. Our self-worth is determined by how we see ourselves. And sometimes that's shaped by our community, sometimes that's shaped by those people around us, sometimes that's shaped by our expectations. But we see ourselves. But our goal should be become the person that God sees in us, loved, valued, cherished, and called according to his purpose. Haley will appreciate that. Heather would as well. One of the famous characters in our preschool, and like I said, I know Haley loves them and uses them a lot, is Pete the cat. Now, I'm not typically a cat person, but this guy's pretty cool. Now, Pete the Cat's a children's book, but I love the message behind it. One of my favorite books, and I can pretty much tell it to you verbatim, is Pete the Cat and the Groovy Buttons. And it teaches us a valuable lesson of not worrying about the little things. Pete starts out with his 4 groovy buttons. And he's so excited about his shirt and his 4 groovy buttons that he sings about it, as he oftentimes does in his books. He likes to sing. And he's singing about his 4 buttons. And one of the buttons pops off and he loses it. The book says, does he cry? Goodness no. Buttons come, buttons go. So he's singing and dancing about the 3 remaining. He loses another one, and now he has 2. And the question again, does he cry? Goodness no. Buttons come and buttons go. He loses another button. Again the question, does he cry? Goodness no. Buttons come and buttons go. And when he loses his final button, he has no more buttons left. The question is, does he cry? Goodness no. Buttons come and buttons go. As he looks down, he discovers that he still has his belly button. You see, don't sweat the small stuff. You are worth more than a couple buttons that you lost. You are worth more than allowing circumstance to define you. Every day, God is teaching us something. Sometimes it's a reminder of our elementary-based lessons, just as we discovered with Pete the cat. But sometimes it's a culture-changing message. And that's exactly the message that God puts before Peter. Peter now has to change. He's the leader of the church, but yet he is wrong. He is absolutely wrong. Now, he was a brilliant man. He was a good man. But God had to change his perspective. And he does so through a vision. So let's take a look at verses 11 through 15. He saw heaven open, and an object coming down resembled a large sheep being lowered to the earth by its 4 arms. In it were all 4-footed animals and reptiles of the earth and birds of the sky. Then a voice said, "Get up, Peter, kill and eat." "No, Lord," Peter said, "for I have never eaten anything common or unclean." Again, a second time, a voice said, "What God has made clean, you must not call common." This happened 3 times before the vision went back up to heaven. God had to reach Peter. Peter was too distracted by his culture. He was too distracted by tradition. He was too distracted by the way he was raised, that he couldn't see the truth. Now, what shapes our truth? Sometimes in our own life, what shapes our truth is traditionally what we accept as truth, what we accept as right. That shapes it. Our culture shapes our truth, and what culture says is right. Sometimes our truth is shaped by comparison. If we can find someone who is a worse person than we are at something, then they are bad and we're good. Now that doesn't make any sense, but that's sometimes how we shape our truth. And Peter he believed that Jesus was for the Jewish people and that they were not for the Gentiles. He also believed that there was certain meat he couldn't eat and certain meat that he could. And this vision tells him there's no more standards on what you eat, and there's no more standards on who receives the Word of God. This was God's calling to Peter. Peter needed to see and hear the change of direction in God's ministry. There's a popular book that maybe several of you have read, and if you haven't read it, I do recommend that you take a look at it. It's called "You Were Made for a God-Sized Dream." And it says this: every dream or desire you have that comes from God is an invitation for more intimacy with Him. What is our calling? I believe this passage, and I believe that book, I believe this passage of the Bible, it speaks to the hearts of all of us about going through God's calling in our lives. Most of us feel that His call is a dream in our heart, but we only see it as that. We do not give ourselves permission to believe that it's actually of Him, something He could use to accomplish something great. the lesson that this passage teaches us is when God speaks. When God speaks, it's one of the most basic practical lessons in this passage is that when he speaks, it's not our place to challenge him. God knows you better than anyone. And God believes in you better than anyone. Our self-worth, again, is determined by how we see ourselves. But our goal should become the person that God sees in us. Loved, valued, cherished, and called according to his purpose. I had a phenomenal thing happen this week. My brother, a couple weeks ago, had called me. He was doing a high school week camp at his place in Illinois. And he called me, wanted me to speak for the evening session. And I swore he said devotion, but I'll get to that in a moment. So I said, okay. He said, by the way, on your way, can you pick up the entertainment for the night? You see, you know what he was doing, right? He was asking to kind of puff me up. I want to hear you speak, but I have this faith that you need to do. So I had to pick up this complete stranger from another camp in Indiana and drive him to Illinois. Now, he was a magician illusionist. And I was a little nervous picking up this stranger, and how in the world are we going to keep conversation for 4 hours? So I conned my younger brother into going with me. But I met the guy. And the moment I met him, I thought, we're going to click. He had an amazing story. He's first generation to this country. His mom was from Afghanistan, an immigrant from Afghanistan. His dad was from Iran. And they came to this country for better opportunities. And they had children. They were successful. His dad owned and operated an Italian restaurant. His name was Zach. When Zach was a year old, his dad locked up the restaurant, was walking home, was mugged, was beaten up, and murdered. He grew his entire life not knowing his dad. Now, he had 3 uncles who took good care of him, kind of filled in that fatherly role. And he had a big family that stayed with him. Now, coming from Iran and Afghanistan, you guessed it, he was Muslim. And we hear a lot in the news about Islam. We hear a lot about what they are, and it's rarely flattering. But one thing that's beautiful about the Islamic faith is the fact that they believe in family. They believe in community. But their community is shaped around their faith of Islam. Well, to fill the void that his father left behind, he got into illusion, he got into the magic act, and while he was performing, somebody found him and wanted him to tour with them. This man was a Christian magician, and his tour was a ministry. Well, Zach quickly fell in love with the ministry, he quickly fell in love with Christ, and he became a Christian. Now, which is true, his family was not happy about him switching from Islam to Christianity. So he spent a couple of months away from his family, actually teaching at a Christian school. When he came back, his family was eager to learn. In just a few short years, he has won his uncles and all their families, all his cousins, to Christ. He has yet to win his brother and mother, but he's very confident that one day they will. But his faith has converted so many people in his family because he knew God saw that it was worth it. God takes a look at us, as I mentioned earlier, and he sees us and he says, they're worth it. But we have to change our perspective. There was a major problem in the church that was stopping the growth. And that major problem was the Jew and Gentile relationship. It was killing the reputation. The church was being judged because they were so judgmental. Peter had to take his personal feelings and push them aside because he believed the Gentiles were not welcome. He focused on what God wanted from him, though. He would have to minister to the Gentiles. And this is what he says. This is the moment that he finally realizes what's happening. Peter began to speak. Now I really understand that God doesn't show favoritism. But in every nation, a person who fears him and does righteous is acceptable to him. He sent the message to the Israelites proclaiming the good news of peace through Jesus Christ. He is Lord of all. He overcame the obstacle. He finally saw that the message was for everyone. Not just the Jews, not just the Gentiles, not just this group, not just that group. He saw that the message of Jesus Christ was for everybody. He finally realized that. He had overcome the obstacle that was stopping his ministry. What is stopping you? What is keeping you down? Who or what is making you feel like you're not good enough? And are you ignoring those who want to invest in you? Are you ignoring those who believe you're worth something? We have to know our obstacles. Now, we've had a lot of storms, a lot of flooding recently. So this kind of goes into your mind. If you have to go to town for something, whether it's school's in session, whether it's school, whether it's your job, whether it's church, so this goes on and on. And you are on the road to your destination. And as you're going down the road, you see this big tree, and it's landed in the road. Along with the tree, because we've had a lot of flooding, there was a flash flood there. What are you going to do? Are you going to press on the gas pedal and ram that tree over? I would not recommend that, by the way. You're going to just turn around and go home? Just give up? No. What we typically do is this. We either find a different way, or if there is room, we will swerve and miss that obstacle. But we will stay on the path of our direction. The same is true for our spiritual life. There are obstacles that are going to lay before us, whatever they may be. And one of them is, what am I worth? Do I count? Do I matter? The world tells us we don't. And that's just like a tree laying in the road. We can choose to accept it, turn around, and go home. Because we're accepting their truth. We're not accepting the truth, we're accepting their truth. Or we can stay on the path. We can go a different way. We can swerve and miss. What big blows are you going through right now? What storms, what trees in the road, what flash flooding is in your life currently? For Peter, it was a big blow for him to be corrected. By God at that. It was a big blow for him to be corrected by God. He was the leader of the church, for Pete's sake. But when we are criticized, when we're corrected, it's easy to allow that to damage us. Oftentimes we don't receive it in a positive approach, but we can allow those things to defeat us. Peter decided to learn from it. As hard as it is for us, we have to learn from the correction and criticism that we receive. We have to get past our personal feelings. Peter had to get past his personal view of the Gentiles. He had to accept his place. We need to make sure we're in the right place. We have to put our past behind us. But what difference are we making? Peter knew he was hurting the church. Then he finally realized it was time to accept the Gentiles, and he would be helping. What difference are you making? How are you serving? What difference are you making in our church and our community for your family? When I was looking at self-worth, I saw all kinds of advice. And one of the advice that I saw I found very fascinating. It's going to lead into this. It said, never give up. Never give up. I have another one I'm going to share with you shortly. It says, never give up. Another child's book that I used to read when I was a kid was The Little Engine That Could. And that little engine saw this mountain that he had to go over to save the people on the other side. And he saw this big obstacle. What did he do? Did he just turn around and go home? No, he kept telling himself, I think I can, until he accomplished and went over that obstacle. Do you believe that you can make a difference? Do you believe that we can make a difference? Our self-worth may say no. but it's what God thinks that will make the difference. What difference can we make? There are 4 awesome characteristics of Cornelius. He sought out God and respected God. That's one. He was generous. He was prayerful. And he encouraged others. He encouraged his family. He helped the young church finally realize that this was a bigger ministry than what they were operating. And he realized that God was reaching out to those who know him. And this last passage, it says, can anyone withhold water and prevent these people from being baptized? Who have received the Holy Spirit just as we have? He had commanded them to be baptized in the name of Jesus Christ, and they asked him to stay for a few days. Peter had changed his perspective. For the longest time, he was told that they were God's chosen people, that they had these traditions that they had to honor. For the longest time, he thought in order to go to heaven, you had to be Jewish. But now God changed his perspective, and it became about the Gentiles. And once he opened up the ministry to the Gentiles, they were coming in droves. They were being baptized left and right. Great things was happening. The message was being spread. And it all started because Peter had to change his perspective. And I think it's time for our church and for us as Christians to change our perspective. What if we can make a difference? What if we can make a difference in your family? What if we can make a difference in our church? What if we can make a difference in our community? Well, in order to do that, we need to be challenged. Now, we are challenged by different things. What may be a challenge for some is not for others. What may be a challenge for some may be exactly what they're going for. And for some of us, we need baby steps. For some of us, we're ready to take the plunge. But we are fully capable. We are fully capable of doing wondrous things. So I want to invite you this morning to make a difference for our church and for our county, for our community. One of the other bits of advice that I read about self-worth and encouraging self-worth is never stop looking for a challenge. We have to be challenged. We have to be challenged. And we can't make a difference if we're not challenged. So I have a challenge that will make a difference for our families, for our church, and for our community. Before I go into that, I want to read it again because I want you to hear it again. I want you to commit it to memory again. Our self-worth is determined by how we see ourselves, but our goal should become to become the person that God sees in us, loved, valued, cherished, and called according to his purpose. I want to leave our church today with a challenge. And the challenge is, for some of it, it's simple. Some of it takes a great deal of generosity. Some of it takes just a little bit of generosity. But I want you to be challenged today. And the challenge I have behind you is this. This Wednesday, we're going to have an event at Hilltop for our lower elementary. And 2 weeks from today, we're going to have a week-long event for our upper elementary students. Now, Hilltop, for many of us, have been near and dear to our hearts. And this challenge is going to make a big difference. And I want you to imagine with me, if you will, what kind of impression, what kind of witness does that leave for the people at Hilltop to do these things? If they knew that the church was behind them through their prayer time on the events that they have coming up, what does that speak to them? What does that say to them? So that's the first thing I'm going to ask is pray. Pray for these next few events. Pray for the rest of the summer that lives are changed and great things are being accomplished. The other thing I want to encourage you to challenge yourself is the next couple Sundays is to bring supplies. Bring supplies because, Hilltop's a nonprofit. That means they rely solely on donations. But when I give, I kind of like to give a little bit more than just money. This is an opportunity to give supplies. So these are the supplies. If you want to write them down, I will also post them on social media later on. But I'm going to ask next couple weeks they can bring in towels, napkins, toilet paper, some kind of sport ball, and it has the list there: kickball, basketball, football, scissors, or football and soccer, scissors, adults or children, and copier paper, 8.5 by 11, 11 by 14. This will make a big difference. This will have a lasting impression, and it'll be just a little bit that will help with some cost. What will it speak? It will speak volumes to the camp and be a significant encouragement. The last thing is a major challenge, and if you're feeling led to it, great. If not, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I actually, after presenting this challenge, I got a check today that somebody's going to do this. But we have people in our church, we have people in our community, we have people in our ministries that are unable to go to camp because it costs a significant amount of money. Now, our day camp, if you would like to sponsor a child for that, that's $50. That's a one-day camp. But if you would like to sponsor a kid for a week, that's $230 for the week, and it will send a kid who can't go to camp. They'll be unable to go to camp because of money. The church's scholarship money is limited. The camp scholarship money is limited. We've been able to use it in less than that capacity, but it's limited. So the challenge I have for you is, if you would like to sponsor a child, either a day camper or a week long. The day camper is $50, the week long is $230. It is a small price to pay for what could be a significant impact in this child's life. Many, 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 many people have come to know the Lord and have started their relationship with Christ because of camp. Now, with these things being said, this is the challenge I want to leave you with today. As musicians come forward, the last thing I want to say is this. If you are like Cornelius and you have not been able to give your life to the Lord, not been able to be baptized, don't put it off. Let's make that decision today. If you are looking for a church home, we would love to be your church home. If you're looking for prayer, we would love nothing more than to pray with you. We encourage you, whether it's up here and we pray, you and I together, whether you pray here, whether you stay where you are. This is our time of worship. This is how we're going to finish our worship. So let's stand as we enter these final moments.